Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Doggone it. Wow. Very emotional. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Really touched me. Brings back, so many memories in 34 years. And this is such a great ministry. It just is. What it offers is amazing, helping people awaken and come into the dynamic of love. I want to thank Michael for inviting me to be part of, again, being able to share here. And I've missed all of you. It's always so great to see all of you. I love you all. That love has never gone away. It never will. I've always said that my goal as a minister every Sunday is to teach, to love, and to inspire people into being all that they have been created to be by God, the one creator. And so hopefully the lesson I have for you this morning will teach and love and inspire you into, again, another dimension of living the life that we've all been blessed to live. I think it's an important question that we should all ask ourselves if we're into our spiritual growth and dedicated to it, of course, and that is, what is it that has certainty? What is it that has certainty? We get lots of information, we get lots of teachings and dogma and doctrine and concepts and beliefs and opinions and articles and, all kinds of things that are fed to us, but, there are some things out of all of that we're uncertain about, and so the question is, what do you know is truly true? What do you know for certain? What do you know has certainty? Because certainty has significance. Oprah Winfrey, I think her thing is, she likes to say, what I know for sure is, so there's some things that she lives from that she knows for sure. And so the reason I ask this question is certainty has significance because it commands our focus. It is integrated. It has muscle in us because it is in the foreground of what we seek to live from. And so it's important to bring to the forefront now and again, what is it that we really know and believe with all certainty? And so you can agree or disagree with me, but this is what I know and accept for certain. It is a certainty that you're living something called life. And it's a gift, and it is sacred. It is a certainty that you are a spiritual being. It is a certainty that you live in a three-dimensional world that is constantly changing. It is a certainty that your life has purpose. It is a certainty that life is relationships. It is a certainty that you're here to learn to love God, to love yourself, to love others, to love all that is, because it's all God. It is a certainty that you have a body, but you are not your body. It is a certainty that you will die, but only the physical of you. And it is a certainty that you are an eternal being. For God is a forever God, and you are a forever being. Now I'm going to stop there. You can perhaps think of others, but that's a lot to cover. And hopefully we can touch on some of that or a mix this morning. But there are those things that are unshakably true for us, hopefully, that we have. And those things demand your attention because they have significance. Life, death, and beyond should be things that are integrated into our consciousness in the living of our life now. Now, Reverend Michael Gott is doing a lesson series called The End of Life and Beyond. And I thank him for inviting me to jump into the middle of that series and speak to some of that theme. So today I want to address a bit and pieces of that, and particularly including death. Because death is a certainty. Everyone experiences it. It is unavoidable. It is a part of life. It is not to be feared. It is, as the comedian says, it's not that I'm afraid of dying, I just don't want to be there when it happens. Well, you're going to be there. And it happens. It happens. In fact, there are over 50 million people that die per year worldwide. 50 million, over 50 million. Non-COVID years, okay? In 2015, 55 million people died worldwide. And yet the population increased because though there were 55 million that died, there were 140 births worldwide. So our population increased that year by around 84 million. Interesting. People are coming and going. Souls are coming and going. About 150,000 people per day die worldwide, according to research done in 2017. And so we must really shift away from the idea of that talking about death is morbid or negative, or talking about it brings it on, or being in denial of it in some way. It is a part of life. Everyone experiences it. So if anyone here has a problem with that topic, it's important that you be here and listen to this. I hope it will be helpful, truly, truly. And I honor those of you not only that are here, thank you, but those that that we are streaming to. Blessings to you. So the only way really to face and understand death is with, of course, spiritual truth. Spiritual awareness is the way that we confront life, and spiritual awareness is the way that we confront death. And so in various cultures and spiritual traditions, actually, they learn that it is considered an act of wisdom to prepare for death throughout their life. And there are things that we are to do and to learn in consciousness that can make for an easier death and a more conscious death and a more beautiful experience, actually. The Buddha taught that we are to use our lives to prepare for death, that is a part of what life is. I'll share more and hope to make that clearer. The Dalai Lama, who is certainly still with us, it is said that when he was 58 years old, it's probably about 20 years ago, I don't know his exact age now, he's still with us teaching, but when he was 58 years old, he was asked what he'd like to do next with his life. And he said that he would like to use the time to complete preparations for his death. That's a big emphasis of many spiritual traditions, and particularly Tibetan Buddhism. An 18th century epitaph reads this, quote, "Remember, friends, as you pass by, as you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you will be. Prepare yourself to follow me." Interesting. There is a certain preparation that spiritually our lives daily are to be about in terms of making for beautiful and easier passing over. So it's certain that we die. What is uncertain is you don't know when and you don't know how. In early February of 2020, just a little over a year ago, I was co-leading a pilgrimage in Egypt. We had started in Cairo, ended in Cairo. I had a cruise up the Nile and saw many temples. It was a beautiful experience. But we're on the last day in Cairo, in the hotel. We're packing. We have our farewell dinner that night, the flight the next morning. It's the afternoon. People are packing. I'm done. I'm ready to go have a walk. It's a beautiful day. The hotel happened to be across the street from a zoo. And it had fencing where you could actually see in. So I thought, well, I'll go across the street, just kind of peek in and just enjoy a little bit of the afternoon and a walk. Problem is, there are 6 lanes of traffic between the side of the hotel and the other side, with a median in between. 3 lanes of traffic going this way, 3 lanes going that way. And so there is no crosswalk, there's no intersection, can't see anything, so I'm gonna have to make my way. So there's a row of parked cars, of course, like always, along the curb, and then so I edge out to there so that I'm ready to make a dash, at least to the median. So I'm looking, and it's busy, and I'm standing there 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Had to be 5 minutes. Finally, there's an opening, and I make my dash. I take 1 step, 2 step, and bam, bam. I am slammed to the pavement. I'm looking left because all the traffic is coming from left. I didn't know what happened to me. All I know next is that somebody grabbed me and pulled me up and away and out of what might be traffic where I was. And I was dazed, of course. I never met that person or saw them ever again. I just felt them do that. It could have been an angel, could be anyone. And by then I had my bearings, and I looked and saw that what I was hit by was an ice cream vendor. Sorry, I don't need an ice cream. So it just was the timing. When I stepped out looking this way, bam, not even seeing it whatsoever. I was thrown to the pavement with an impact that I am amazed to this day that I was not severely injured, that I didn't throw my head into the pavement. I was all shoulder and side, and where I was hit by the box that contained all this ice cream. And he was frightened that he'd be in trouble, and so he took off. I made my way to the hotel, and I was treated for my injuries, and like I say, it was nothing terribly severe, fortunately. I was grateful. But I share this because I thought then and there, this must be what a quick and sudden death must be like, you know? How quickly and easily it can happen, unexpectedly, in a moment. And later I reflected, I know there is certainty we all die, but what if death is sudden like that? Howard, are you ready? Howard, are you prepared? No, I have work, spiritual work yet undone. And so it helped me realize that there is no certainty when and how death occurs. You know, it is said that some people don't catch up with their life in the now until a few days or hours before their death. And that there are others who choose to avoid the last-minute rush, and they begin now. Well, the Tibetan Buddhists, which the Dalai Lama is of one, they teach that there are actually certain moments in life that are more powerful, that are more crucial than others, that are more far-reaching than others. And they occur during the course of your life, certain magnificent moments. I could recite several I've had and been blessed with. But they say that basically the greatest and the most charged and the most significant of these moments is the moment of death. Not dying, mind you, death. We'll talk about the difference between dying and death. Death when the soul emerges into this vast, limitless next dimension of light and love and freedom. And so the preparation we're talking about really is always to be working during your life, here and now, toward a sense of completion, towards a sense of awakening, towards a sense of really knowing the truth of who you are. So that brings a sense of peacefulness to you, no matter what it is that you encounter. And it's to recognize that there is still work, unfinished work that we have to do spiritually. That's why we're here, and that's actually why we came, you know. And so there's forgiveness work. There are hearts to be touched. There are amends to be made. There are regrets to be solved and let go of. There's spiritual progress to be made. And we are to reflect on those things during the course of our life. And this time here now for gains in spiritual awakening is important because it will run out. And a reason for this reflecting is to make changes of the heart. We all need to do, and they're all things, many things that our awareness and the spirit within can bring to our awareness that need to be let go, perhaps old conflicts or whatever, so we can again die in peace and with great gratitude in our heart for the life we lived and the work we did. And so death is not our enemy, fear of death is. And death is a beautiful, freeing thing. All the masters and mystics tell us that is the case. Now, dying is different than death. Dying can be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. And we're a bit uncomfortable when we come into this world, coming down the birth canal. Well, it's sometimes uncomfortable leaving the womb of Mother Earth as it was leaving the womb of our mother on earth. And so it doesn't have to be, but I've read that dying is to death as birth is to life. One is the beginning, the other is the end, and of being housed in a body. And the body is the container, and the spirit of you, the essence of you, is the content. And it's true that our heart stops and the blood stops flowing when we die, and yet you maintain its non-physical equivalency that you move on with to experience the love that you feel. There are a couple of quotes later that I'll share with you that support that. We said earlier that it's a certainty that your life has purpose. Or certainly does. I know you know that, but there are things that every person is sent to earth to learn, to gain certain insights, things to realize, things to grow through in spiritual consciousness, to realize that life is relationships, to know thyself, meaning thyself, the spiritual thy you, see, to learn to love. We said that it is a certainty that we live in a three-dimensional world that is constantly changing. This has to do with the idea of impermanence. It's a great teaching, impermanence. It means that nothing in the world of form has permanency. Everything is changing. Everything. Our bodies are changing. Our cells are dying. Others are being born. Things are coming and going. No moment has permanency. One moment comes, the next one is to be born. By the way, did you see that moment or feel the moment that just left? It's never to return, okay? You have the next moment you're living in. It's always being birthed over and over. Our homes, our cars, our clothes, all of the things we wear, all the things of physical form have no permanency. What was born will die. What we accumulate can be lost, and what is built will deteriorate. We leave everything behind. All the props, as one author spoke of it, all the props. The game of life is somewhat like the game of Monopoly. You know, everything that you've accumulated on the board, when the game is over, it all goes back into the box. And so it's a knowing that, and knowing how precious life is as opposed to the accumulation of things around you that are of form. And when each day is over, you don't get it back. You know, that no day, no moment has permanence. Therefore, each is precious. It really is. Now, dying is not the same as death, I said. Dying is a releasing process and a letting go, and that sometimes isn't easy. Letting go of everything that has made up our identity that we thought was who we were sometimes. And there are those who have taught that death is not a single moment. It's not, boom, you step over. That there's several moments involved, and that you reach what is called a point of remembrance. A point of remembrance. So as you're beginning to cross over, there is something in you that is recalled about death, having been there before, perhaps many times, for those of you who believe in reincarnation. And it is at this point that you remember that death is safe. This is to be trusted. I've been here before. The benefits are wonderful, totally freeing of the body and all its limitations. You remember you're not a body, and you never were. You accept that sense of your spiritual identity and the trusting into the process. The thing we do have that is permanent is nowness. You always have the permanency of a now moment. And there's one place where permanency has consistency, and that is in being. You have always had your being. That's why you are an eternal being. You are a being that has beingness in all the experiences that you've been through, this life and others. An eternal being. Awareness survives the body. Jesus stated in talking about death, let not your hearts be troubled, because there's the truth. Believe in God's truth. Believe in me. Believe in God. In our Father's house are many mansions, which is translated to rooms. Choose either one. And if it were not so, I would have told you, for I prepare a place for you. And so it's a beautiful metaphor that he uses in this teaching about death, that basically in my Father's house are many rooms or realms or dimensions. But it's the house you can never leave. You can move into another dimension or room or whatever you want to call it, but you will never leave the house of life. Now, the 23rd Psalm, the psalmist picked up on this, as you recall, and said, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's a truth. Now, there are things we don't know about life after death, death of the body. However, life beyond the body is known by a significant number of people, millions actually. And these millions of people are people who have had near-death experiences. And literally millions of them have been reported. In 1982, there was a poll that was taken in which 8 million Americans in 82 admitted that they had a near-death experience. Might have been the book by Moody that came out about near-death and made it sort of okay to talk about, because it was like taboo. You'll be weird if you tell anyone you had one. There was a study done 10 years after that in which it was determined that there are approximately 775 near-death experiences per day in the U.S. alone. Worldwide, it's certainly more, obviously. And there are studies that have been done, and I study the studies. I am intrigued with it because it is a voice that tells us so much truth that resonates with the masters and the mystics and teachers. And there is spiritual content that is powerful, that is repeated. Now, near-death experiences vary, but there are many that have elements that repeat and have a consistency. And this is what people have studied and brought forth. And the messages have impact on our lives here and now. They give us insight. There are numerous books, of course, that have come out. One of my favorites, if you haven't read it, is Dying to Be Me by Anita Morjani. And she worked with Wayne Dyer the last 3 years that he was with us speaking at his events. Well, shortly after we have stepped across, there's this life review that we have, and it is swift. It's like very comprehensive, but it is very quick, and it's an inventory, okay? It's telling you all the experiences and the feelings of others. In other words, those that you helped and those that you hurt. And so whoever you help make them feel good, you get to feel good. In all those that you hurt, you feel at the level of intensity that whatever you said or did, whatever they felt, you get to feel, all right? And so it basically is a help to you. It's really showing you that it's not to punish you, but it's to help in your own growth and understanding, because there's tremendous awareness gained through that process of the work that you have completed and the work that you have not completed. And of course, all of these people with the life review have come back, and their lives are changed and transformed. They're different, totally different. Never the same. And many, even as many as 50 years later, remember vividly the experience and tear up when they talk about it. It's so impactful. One near-death lady named Amy, she said, I was able to feel exactly what others around me had felt during my life, how everything I did and said and even thought had touched others around me. Another named Bobby said, I learned a lot. Don't hurt others. Don't judge. One man said, I realized there are things every person is sent to earth to realize and to learn. For instance, share more love. Discover the most important thing is human relationships and love. Whatever work is not done, not healed, not learned, we have to accomplish it on the next leg of the journey. And that was brought up by those who had, that was an awareness they had. And actually, one near-death experiencer said this. He said, if we do not complete our task now, it stays there like dishes stacked in the sink until we're ready to do it, no matter how many lifetimes it takes. One author said, it's not as though we live 10, 20, or 100 more different lives. We actually live only one life, but we move from body to body, insight to insight, liberation to liberation. It's suggested then, and that's what a lot of this lesson is about, is that you prepare now in terms of have your own life review periodically, now, so you can reflect on the changes that Spirit is having you deal with here and now, the growth that is to occur. Some people experience a light, of course, and you've probably read some of these things, and some experience other people on the other side as well, and speak to them and what have you, and then they return back, having had the conversation with a parent or a child that had premature death or what have you. A very interesting experience shared by a Vietnam veteran. His name is Michael Sabam. And he said, as he lay unconscious on the battlefield, viewing his own body, the 13 guys that had been killed the day before, that he said I had put in plastic bags, were right there with me. And we communicated without talking with our voices. We communicated telepathically. The importance of love is so emphasized that basically in the light, which is the presence of God, is a love that isn't fathomable. There are not words that in the English language to convey the magnitude of that love. Anita Moriani said, the amount of love I felt was overwhelming. It was complete, it was pure, it was unconditional love like I had never known before. It's a certainty we are a spiritual being. It's a certainty. Anita Moriani talked about the word magnificence. She said, my soul finally realizing it's true magnificence. You're all magnificent, but you've fallen asleep to your magnificence. That's what we're waking up to. She said, I was able to get in touch with who I truly am, the part of me that's eternal, infinite, and encompasses the whole. There's much that is shared in near-death experiences, and like I said, I study them. I have sheets where I list the quotes, and periodically I go to them and read them because they touch me so deeply, because near-death experiencers are messengers. You see, they're important. We are at a time in this world where we need more voices coming with the absolute, clear, certain truth that impacts us and says, wow, I cannot forget this. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm here for. You see, they are messengers of hope. They are calling us into change, moving away from division, returning to oneness, the importance of learning to love, how to be helpful with each other, all of these things. And certainly there are those that are certainly learning it and have a long way to go. And then there are many, thank God, on this planet who are doing just that. And we're grateful. And the way to progress in these areas, revealed by the near-death experiencers, is not to go out and try and have your own near-death experience. Okay. Okay. It is basically through meditation, contemplation, reflection about your life and your experiences, what you have learned through them and are learning. It is listening and learning to spiritual teachings, and it's prayer. It's to be integrated, to live what has certainty for you. I close with one guide that a near-death person met, a guide on the other side, and the person returning to this world was told that she wasn't to identify with it, this world, to be in it but not of it, that she was only passing through. And another said, now my goal has become to feel nothing but unconditional love all the time. And I think that's a good place to close. And it's a good goal for us all to have. That now my goal is to feel nothing but unconditional love all the time. I invite you to turn within with me, if you would. And to just feel that there is a presence and a power that fills this room. It lives within you. It is mighty and powerful. It loves you infinitely. It is a guide. Simply ask, seek, and knock at its door, and it will show you the way. It will beam its light before you and in you. It will reveal a truth that will set you free. It will open your heart and the floodgates of oneness. Dear God, we honor your presence, which is always with us and within us, surrounding and enfolding us. Guide us, inspire us, show us what it is that we have come to learn, to do and to be. Show us that image and likeness of which we were created. Truly, we are grateful for this life, its gift, its sacredness. Truly, we are grateful for all the relationships with people and all aspects of life. May we progress. May we give ourselves to you, to the voice of Spirit that lives within, and be that which we were created to be. We say thank you, dear God. Thank you. And so it is. In Christ's nature, we pray. Amen. God bless you all, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you today.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.